There appears to be some growing momentum towards a KD-Steph reunion. Brian Windhorst yesterday saying there are legitimate sources in the league telling him that bringing Durant back is, quote, a discussion. Nick, I'll start with you. Is it looking like KD to the Warriors would actually happen?
I find it impossible to believe that this could happen. And I know everyone's talking about, like, would the Warriors be interested? Would Steph be okay with it? Would it be what Kevin Durant wants? We've talked about it from all those angles. I am yet to hear this piece of it. Why would Brooklyn do this? Now, I believe Brooklyn's going to trade Kevin Durant. But I also know what Brooklyn wants, and I don't think they're going to get quite what they want out of this. They're not going to. They said they want 2 All-Stars. 25 teams don't have 2 All-Stars, and the teams that do don't want to trade them. So, like, they're not going to get 2 All-Stars. But once you go a level down from that, it's like, okay, we want a blue-chip prospect plus a bunch of other stuff. Does Golden State have that? I know, Brew, and I want to talk to you about this. Because, Brew, you said something the other day that I know made me raise my eyebrows, and I think Wilds as well. You just kind of said in passing, oh, I think Kuminga's a future star. Like, future star? Yeah. Would that be the best piece you get in the package? And if he is a future star, are we going to look back on last year's draft as the greatest draft ever? Because I went through it. Like, nobody thinks Kuminga's better than Mobley, Barnes, or Cade Cunningham. I don't think you believe Kuminga's better than Jalen Green, Franz Wagner, or Josh Giddey. And to me, he has shown less than Herb Jones or Bones Highland and maybe Şengün. That's 9 guys. So was that a 10-star draft? We saw Jonathan Kuminga. No. We saw from his 9. Okay, so then if Kuminga's the best piece in the trade, why would Brooklyn do this? The picks you're going to get from Golden State are going to be terrible because if they have Steph Curry and Kevin Durant, they're going to be picking 28, 29, or 30. Right. And so what is the chances that you get even a single All-Star appearance out of anyone you trade for? I would say very slim to none. So that's the part that I don't understand why on Brooklyn's side this would be the trade they want to make, Brooke.
Well, no, you make some decent points. There's no doubt. And you know I'm saying, Brooklyn, keep Kevin Durant. Keep him. At least for 1 more year, keep him. So I'm with you on that. But where I disagree with you on, Nick, is I actually think Golden State can offer a very strong package, better than most teams can offer. Now, they don't. You're right. They won't have the plethora of great picks. Most of these first-round picks that get traded aren't going to be great picks. All right, because the teams usually are good teams that give them up.
Sure.
And they're going to be late first-round picks, or they're heavily protected, right? But Jordan Poole could be a star. Could be. Jonathan Kuminga could be a star. And some of the guys you mentioned, I definitely think he's going to be better than Franz Wagner, some other guys you mentioned.
Really?
And James Wiseman, not as certain about him, but certainly has potential. Okay? So I think you would get potentially 3 very good young players in the draft. But to your point, if I'm the Nets, it's not enough. I want to keep KD. But I said this on the herd shortly after KD's trade request, Wilds. Somebody texted me, a good source, texted me at that point that Kevin Durant doesn't want to play with Kyrie and that he wants to go to Golden State. I said it on the herd. I didn't put too much bass in my voice because it is, like Nick said, it's hard to believe. Yeah. I haven't confirmed it with Kevin Durant or his agent. So I am strongly leaning toward not believing that. But is it an impossibility? No. And clearly Draymond Green's pushing for, and I wouldn't be surprised. I know Chris Haynes did a job, reported, and he does a great job, that KD is going dark on other stars. I wouldn't be surprised, though, if he's talking with Draymond. Draymond is clearly going revisionist history. Oh, we couldn't have beat Cleveland 2017, 2018 without KD. We loved him. We knew he was the best. It was the media that was crushing him. Yeah, the media that was naming him finals MVP and saying he was probably the best player in the world, or at least some of the media. So revisionist history on Draymond's part. If Steph is indeed reaching out, as there have been reports, we'll talk about that later, I think it's possible, slightly, very slightly, but I don't think it's an impossibility, Wilds.
Oh, so I hope it's not an impossibility, because the other big hurdle that we all had to get over was the legacy question that Kevin Durant addressed yesterday. And if he's actually thinking about going back to Golden State, while everybody thinks it would damage his legacy, he doesn't seem to care, Nick. So I'm interested in your opinion on this, because I think it would be wonderful for the game of basketball. I think that you think it would be a little bit, I don't know, unfair, I guess. But in the history of basketball, basketball has thrived when there's a great super team. And the new Warriors, the Warriors with Kevin Durant would be at 3.0. But the Warriors would be at 4.0. Warriors, no Kevin Durant.
4.0.
Warriors with Kevin Durant, without Kevin Durant. 4.0 Warriors would be an amazing, amazing team. And we'd be on the verge of another new dynasty that I think would be great for the NBA. Just like how the Celtics and Lakers traded off for a decade was great for the NBA. And just how Jordan 3-3 championships was great for the NBA. And how LeBron goes to the finals for a decade was great for the NBA. The idea that Kevin Durant and the Warriors can be this new team that is at the same time super likable and villains would just be absolutely wonderful. I would be delighted. And we'd get that Donovan Warriors championship. Oh, in the finals. Oh, it would be wonderful. I would love it.
All right,
Would you not like it, Nick?
bolster your
Do you think it's
point,
unfair?
Wilds. To bolster,
Go ahead, Billy.
To bolster your point, Wilds, not the Donovan point, because that's far away from happening. But to
Well, that was
bolster
good
your
bonus.
point, I believe. Remember when Kevin Durant tweeted a couple weeks ago, "I died." Was it July 4th? Whatever the day in 2016 was that he went to the Warriors. Nick, I think what KD I think what he meant was he died to worrying about what everybody else thinks about him and worrying about what people say about him and to being a people pleaser. I think that's what he died to. I'm dying to being a people pleaser. I did what everybody thought I was crazy to do, and I went to Golden State because I wanted to. That's what I think he meant.
And he was
if
miserable
indeed that's
and
what he
left.
meant, he was, but I think he's more miserable in Brooklyn. And I think that might make him appreciate Golden State more. I'm with you. It's hard to believe he would go back. But if he really wants to in his heart of hearts, I think him saying, "I died on July 4th, 2016, if that was the date, that is a hint that if he really wants to do it, he won't worry about what you or me or anybody else in the NBA world will say.
Well, okay, listen, I think KD is a tough nut to crack from a psychoanalysis standpoint, because if the single most important thing to him was win the most championships as possible, play the most beautiful version of basketball possible, all of that, he obviously would have never left Golden State. But he did leave Golden State.